Well, if PBS would have gotten the rights to my show. Everyone likes to talk about how bad, UPN and WB did, or USA did, or Cartoon did of my show. But we're going to go on a sad what if. If you think that was bad, Insight, what would happened, Insight would have happened if PBS would have gotten the rights to my show because they would have done more skimming than you think. You see, they would have asked for, they would have asked Disney and Deke to do a lot more skimming than they were done. First, that the names would have been shifted because let's be earnest, they would have done that first. They would have looked at the Dawnish Borrow names and say, well, how many folks know those names? And if the answer is, well, very few folks, then they're going to shift them out for borrowed names that folks speaking English would know more of. Latin, French, Spanish, Hebrewish, Blacklandish, Farsiest borrow names, because English borrowed more names from those speeches in Dawnish. And you also know that the fighting that there was, they would have skimmed it more. Or maybe they would have kept it the way it was, who knows. But they would have done some skimming to it. And that anything it had to do with, and that that they would have cleaned it up from anything that would have been, smoking or drinking, which, yes, there was some in Sailor Moon, believe it or not. Deke and Disney cleaned it up, and if they had if PBS had the rights to it, then that would have also been cleaned up as well. Now you're asking yourself, you're saying, well, would 2 episodes become 1? That I don't know about. But I do know when it came to Day of Calling, they would have seeked some other way, I don't know if they would have kept it where they would have been all taken or slain as they were in Viz's work. Your guess is good as mine there. And would have kept the song the same? Well, who knows? But I could tell you PBS would have made, Disney and Deke do a lot more skimming than what UPN, WB, USA, or Cartoon had them do. And when it came to Zoisite and Malachite, they would seek some way to shift that. So Zoisite would have become a woman under PBS's watch at that time. And I know a lot of folks like to say that would have said that it would have fit. At the end of the day, you thought that was, at the end of the day, you think that's all they would have done. And you're thinking to yourself now, how would they have handled, me and Sailor Mars, Sailor Red Road Ray, and the Riles? I think they would have kept that. And they would have shifted a little what we said, So that going through as well. At the end of the day, the cleaning that Disney and Deke would have done so it would work for UPN and WB, and later on USA and Cartoon, that PBS would have asked them to do the same. And they would have had a love and hate kinship with it because that's how PBS is. Half of their followership are teachers, the other half are healers, the other half are lawmakers, and that they would have had a love and hate kinship with it. So, yeah, that's my belief of what PBS would have done with Sailor Moon. Give your thoughts on it, and what do you think they would have done if they had the rights to it?